The Ohio Parole Board has now started hearing arguments for clemency for an inmate on death row. Ronald Phillips is scheduled to die in January for the rape and murder of his girlfriend's 3-year-old daughter. This is back in 1993. The board previously rejected clemency 3 years ago. Today's hearing was renewed interest in where Ohio's death penalty stands. NBC4's Rick Reitzel live at the State House tonight to explain whether lethal injection and where it stands here in Ohio. Rick?
Well, lethal injections in Ohio are still on hold, at least until the beginning of next year. That's because the last one was botched. Now the state's working to find new drugs to use. Ronald Phillips is one of 3 Ohio death row inmates scheduled to be put to death in January. The other 2 have been granted a stay or reprieve. A combination of milazodone and another drug in 2014 left death row inmate Dennis McGuire gasping in pain for 20 minutes before he died. Lethal injections have since been put on hold.
Now we're on the cusp, it seems, to the state having a set of drugs available. I think it includes milazodone now.
OSU law professor Doug BERMAN is a legal expert on lethal injections. The state is also looking at a lookalike drug from compound pharmacies in place of other drugs. The lookalike drugs remain unidentified because Ohio lawmakers included them in a secrecy law. State Senator Jim Hughes was a co-sponsor of that law. He says the Department of Corrections asked not to disclose the drugs used because those companies were being harassed. Professor BERMAN says the state is looking for ways to delay execution.
There's no doubt that Governor Kasich has pushed off executions in the state for the last 2 years based on a concern that the state didn't have the execution protocol and the drugs it needed to be able to carry out these executions without the risk of there being problems.
Phillips also wants his injections put on hold because Ohio could be using an untested cocktail of drugs. The State Parole Board will give their report on Phillips' clemency to Governor Kasich by December 9th. Live at the House, Reitzel, NBC4.